with beauty campaigns shot on film, and no one song or one aesthetic this summer, I feel there is a cultural shift currently happening. The girls are doing monthly curriculums, the boys are performing a Vogue and nerdy character. The main goal, they want to be interesting. They want to have their own hobbies, interests, and, in the end, personality. And what has arrived in the real world has long existed on the internet. Authenticity. A shift from curated perfection to genuine, relatable storytelling is the selling point of the fashion influencer of today and the future. In this video, I want to explore what causes this transition and how it changes other areas as well, especially advertising. Hi, my name is Sophia. I am a journalist specifically for fashion and culture. And I love to have you here for fashion and essay content like this one. I used to love buying and reading Vogue, InStyle, Madame, all of those magazines. Because when I opened the magazine, I could dream myself into this parallel universe, into this other and higher version of myself that has all these designer goods. And I could dream myself into the position of a fashion journalist, of a model running down the runway, of a designer who's creating this whole world for one brand and for one fashion house. Today, I still look into these magazines, but rather for the journalistic text that I now find interesting. I still like to listen to podcasts, for example, from Sherlock's. I read the newest Vogue article and go on the website of Business of Fashion. But product information and product recommendation, that's where I look elsewhere. It's because I prefer getting stuff recommended from people who are in my niche, people who I feel like are closer to me and not as aspiring, but rather relatable. For that, I love going to people who may have a smaller following on social media, but I feel that they speak their truth. They say what they want to say, have a strong opinion, and are not afraid to tell it. Micro and nano influencers are the way to go because they make me feel something, because they are authentic. I think the first person to start this movement was Emma Chamberlain, because I think for most people in this corner of the internet at least, she's the epitome of relatability. She shows her emotions on her podcast or YouTube or her other social media accounts. Her emotions, her thoughts. She took us on her journey of decluttering almost all of her wardrobe and what she learned from that. Even though, quick side note, I find it a bit interesting that we find Emma Chamberlain so relatable because she literally has a video on AD, so Architectural Digest, where she shows her new house. And it's obviously a huge and expensive house with all of this special furniture. And I feel like maybe because she's so relatable, we let her get away with it, or we are even happy for her because we feel like she's a friend to us. That aside, I got sidetracked, sorry. I think Emma Chamberlain was very much ahead of her time, which is why she even made it to the Met Gala in the end and is now a super celebrity. Now TikTok is full of this content of people sharing their unhinged thoughts, their saddest moments or embarrassing moments. All of this, I think, also goes hand in hand with the trend of touching grass, having a monthly curriculum, having actual hobbies, basically being offline. In an online world full of AI and bad news, people crave character, they crave realness and personality. This year, absolutely everybody and their mother participated in the bag charm trend, where you bought a charm or you had charms or bracelets or whatever at home and put it on your bag. It was a trend that was supposed to be an expression of your uniqueness, of all the things that made you you and things that you love. But in the end, of course, everybody started doing it. So it didn't have much to do with being unique anymore. So my bold proposition is that in the future, there won't be that one fashion trend, that one thing, one aesthetic that everybody is doing. We had that shift from there being one aesthetic or one style for a whole decade, which now doesn't exist anymore because of trend cycles. But I don't think that this is the only reason for why we won't see that in the future. I rather think it's because everybody is going to exist in their own subgroup where different things are the cool thing. There will be more microtrends, not in the sense of being short-lived. Well, that also, I guess we can't outrun that. But in the sense of there being many trends going on at the same time, but being lived by a smaller amount of people. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if that's a very positive thing or not, because at first I thought, well, that's great, because then we can take back some personality that was not taken from us, but we lived in so much unity and trying to be cool in the mainstream. But I think it's also a pretty dangerous thing in times of being online almost all of the time, since it's straight up a pipeline for God knows what. There can be positive ones, but we all know that they're very negative and some very dangerous pipelines to go down. And I mean, now we're in the fashion industry. It's not the most serious thing in the world, but I definitely think that you can take that and apply it to other industries, other topics, where I don't think that it's going to be the best thing ever. There also seems to be another shift, or maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I saw so many creators that I personally like to watch creating their own Substack. I also have my own Substack, by the way. And I think that's so cool. Not only because I love to create written content, but I also love reading in general, and I love reading written content on the internet. And it's kind of like a blog revival, and that's so cool. I mean, I wasn't super active on the internet in the 2010s. I was a bit too young. But I would love to do that now, because I think written content is the way to go. And another thing that I want to add when we're already talking about Substack and written content, some Substack accounts are free. For example, Brenda's Substack, which I love to read and to follow, but there are other ones that cost a monthly fee. And I know that in the first moment, maybe that's annoying and you would like to have it for free. But maybe just think about what the person is doing. They are writing something for you to read. They may have a journalistic background, or at least do some research that you then don't have to do. It's all work. So I think it's very much okay to pay for journalistic articles, also on other publications. YouTube is a special form because once you've reached enough of an audience, you will get paid from the platform or from companies that want to work with you. So that's why people don't have to pay, but I think it's very much okay to pay for journalistic content. Now, these spaces that these micro-influencers create is a great space marketing-wise, because they may not have the biggest platform, but they have a very loyal following. They have their own ecosystem, and that definitely isn't less effective. Because what used to be an obvious cash-grabbing ad now feels like a recommendation from a friend, so more like a word-to-mouth kind of situation, instead of a thought-out campaign. In short, micro-influencers will make ads feel more authentic, localized, and continuous, while big influencers remain tools for reach and spectacle. Future ad strategies, I think, will layer both, but micro-influencers will increasingly drive real purchasing decisions, especially for a younger audience that values trust. Now, to a bit of another topic also. Personally, I noticed that many fashion influencers that used to do hauls and styling content mainly now also do vlogs and lifestyle content. I want to take another look at the advertisement that is being made possible with that. You may have already heard of the term lipstick index, which was coined in 2001 by the chairman of Estee Lauder, because he noticed that during economic crisis, where people don't like to buy big luxuries, lipstick sales are increasing, whereas all the other sales are decreased. And the idea behind that is that when people can't afford actual luxuries in the terms of a Birkin bag or designer shoes, they still want to indulge into another feeling of luxury. And that may be a lipstick from a designer brand that is maybe 35 euros instead of 3,500 euros, but is still a luxury. And now economists even talk about the wellness index, which means that supplements, self-care, and skincare, health products are being sold more in economic crisis, also as a form of luxury. What I'm trying to say is the typical luxury houses are struggling at the moment with sales stagnating. On the other hand, lifestyle and well-being is the new luxury, and it will be in the future, I think. It's not to say that we aren't materialistic anymore, which unfortunately that's very much the case, but I think it opens the door for another form of advertisement, which is experience over product. Travel, retreats, or pop-up stores will be promoted more than just buying an item. And instead of buy this bag, it'll be have this lifestyle and the bag that comes with it. Also, I'm definitely not the first to say this, but the whole food as part of advertisement, for example, with the Fila X Hailey Bieber campaign, where the fresh produce and groceries are falling out of her bags, is also a huge part of advertisement at the moment. So food and fresh produce. Okay, I think we can come to an end. And in conclusion, we just like to follow people with personality, with character, and with flaws. We love niches and we love authenticity. And I think that's exactly what the fashion influencer of the future is going to be. I hope you found this somewhat interesting and I could give you an insight in my thoughts about the future of influencing. I hope we'll see each other again in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.